Welcome! Today's video is full of awesome tips if you are planning to visit Ghana. These are things you're definitely going to want to know. So let's get started. And we're going to start right here at the STC bus station. STC buses are by far the best and the easiest when you're going between cities. Unless you're using private transportation all through the country, this is the best way to get around. One of the things that makes them great is that they stay pretty much on schedule. If you're scheduled to leave at 8, you'll leave pretty much on time, at least by 8:30 at the latest. And another thing you need to know is that you shouldn't just plan on showing up and buying a ticket same day. That might work for some destinations, but a lot of times you do want to leave 1 or 2 days ahead to buy your ticket. And they don't service every destination every day. Even if it seems like it should be a popular spot, like I was in Cape Coast, I thought they'd go to Kumasi every day. Nope, just twice a week. So that's another reason for going ahead of time to get your ticket, so that you can plan ahead a little bit in case that's the case. However, if an STC bus isn't going to work for you, there are alternatives to getting around Ghana. One would be a minivan or trotro, great for rides of like 3 hours or less. And they leave when they're full, but they're not that big, so they fill up pretty quick. So that's one alternate. The other alternative is VIP buses, and they are big and cushy like the STC buses, but they only leave when they're full as well. So if you're trying to take one, definitely get there as early as possible, but you could be waiting a while it fills up. But I definitely recommend STC buses because they are the most efficient and organized available in Ghana. Well, I'm at the bus station. And while I'm at the bus station, let me tell you a little bit about what happens on your bus trip. Whenever the bus comes to a stop, there's a chance that people will be selling you stuff through the windows or come on board the bus and sell you things. This also happens at intersections, especially in Accra, any intersection in Ghana. But they'll be selling things like plantain chips, hard-boiled eggs, which they put seasoning on, and all sorts of snacks, all sorts of little sundries. And I'm trying not to get hit by a car here. Just if you see something you're interested in, buy it. Don't hesitate. The prices are always good. And so yeah, just know that there will be snacks and that available along the way. And at pretty much every STC station, there's also snacks as well. And I just want to let you know that the people here in Ghana are very friendly. And that's the normal, natural setting here. Just because someone's being really friendly does not mean that they're trying to scam you, okay? You just need to be aware, you know, some people might be trying to sell you something, but on the whole, the people here are just generally very friendly, and you don't have to worry about it. That's the way they are. So take the kindness for what it is, and just enjoy your stay and your time. Another thing you need to know about Ghana is that they have the right hand rule. When you are eating, you only bring food to your mouth with your right hand. When you are talking to someone, you only shake hands with your right hand. When you are passing items or money, you only do it with your right hand, okay? Always the right hand. And while I'm up in the north, which is a more Muslim part of the country, this is actually a rule observed all over the country. And yeah, some people are a little lax about it and they don't really care. But the thing is, if you don't observe the rule with someone who does care, you'll get the stink eye because you'll have offended them significantly. So when you're in Ghana, use the right hand for any interactions and any food you eat. One thing you need to know is that when you are getting a ride anywhere, you want to know where you're going. You want to know the neighborhood you're going to, the name of the neighborhood, and a landmark. So here in Tamale, you might say the Abwabu traffic light. And then in Accra, it might be Dankwa Circle. And those really help drivers find where you're going, okay? And so you want both things. When you get to your hotel or guest house, just ask, say, what neighborhood are we in? And what is the nearby landmark I should tell drivers to help find this place? When they get in the area, then they'll ask you for more specific directions. And even if you're using Bolt, don't assume that the driver knows how to read the map app. They don't. Some do, some don't. Just don't assume it. Trust me. It's really good to know your neighborhood and a landmark. Okay, so let's take a minute to talk about haggling. The best position you can be in is if you have an idea of what the correct price is, or at least a price range. Basically, my recommendation is haggle well enough to not get ripped off, but don't be a jerk about it. If you think someone is dramatically overpricing it, like they're saying 40 CDs and you think it should be 20, offer 10. Okay, but that's only if they're trying to rip you off, if you really think they're trying to rip you off. In a place like a local market selling staples, like you might stop in, you might want to buy some honey or whatever, some fruit or something like that, those prices are more set and you don't have to worry about those so much. When you're dealing with drivers, depending on the town, will depend on how hard they try and get something more from you. So be aware on the driving prices. If you're ending up taking a taxi, check what the price on Bolt or Uber would be and expect to pay a little bit more for the convenience for the taxi that's sitting right there, but don't let them totally rip you off. Occasionally drivers will look at you and they'll say, oh, I can take advantage here because they don't know what the right price is, and that's where knowing the right prices ahead of time really comes in handy. Good afternoon. Okay, and that's a perfect example of another tip I have is greetings. People here greet each other, and greetings are very important. You always say good afternoon, and you say it to everyone in the vicinity. In more formal circumstances, you would greet people in the proper order from the oldest and most important and on down the thing. But on the street, just greet people, good afternoon, and sometimes a good afternoon, how are you? The flip side of that, and as I say, if you walk into a store and there's one person there and there's a customer, you greet both people, okay? So don't skimp on the greetings. Always lead with a good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever it is. The thing to know is, which is a flip of American culture, is they're not big on goodbyes. We're sitting there saying, bye, see you later, have a great day, all that. No, kind of, once your interaction is done, it's done. You might be getting along great with someone and having a nice interaction, and then they just act like, okay, we're done, and leave you to go deal with something else, and you might feel slighted. Don't feel slighted. Just like they expect greetings, we expect farewells. Just understand that they don't put much emphasis on farewells. Another tip you want to know is that if you are traveling in Ghana during harmattan season, which is November to March, you are going to want to bring a couple little extra things to make your life easier and more comfortable. First of all, bring a mask. It doesn't have to be a big old N95 or anything like that, just a nice simple mask to keep the dust out, especially if you're coming up north or if you're going to be in any town like Cape Coast or Kumasi that have yellows, tuk-tuks, because if you're riding open air, the dust can really irritate your throat. But it's good to have regardless of whether you're going to ride in tuk-tuks or not. The other thing is everything that can moisturize you, you want to bring. Lip balm, moisturizing eye drops, bring some throat lozenges, and lotion for your skin. Just anything that can dry out will. And don't worry if you're coming during that time. Harmattan is not really heavy every day, but when it gets bad, you want to have these things just so that you're more comfortable. The easiest rideshare app to use while you're in Ghana, hands down, is Bolt. Okay, and when you're up here in Tamale, just take these little yellows and tuk-tuks all over town. They're the easiest. But anywhere else in the country, you want to definitely have Bolt loaded on your phone. The biggest trick I need to tell you with Bolt is always select the cash option for payment. Otherwise, the drivers might ghost you because they really need the cash in pocket and they are not fond of having to wait for the big company to pay them. Definitely get the Bolt app and always choose the cash option for payment. Now this tip is going to make your trip a whole lot easier. The thing you need to know is Ghana is a very cash-heavy society. Everything runs on cash, only a few things run on plastic, okay? And so what you want to do is when you get here and you go to the ATM for the first time, if the bank is open, go inside the bank and buy yourself a stack of 110 CD notes. That's going to be 1,000 CDs worth of small bills. And that is going to make your trip so much easier. When you need a ride somewhere, when you want to buy something from a street vendor, when you want to buy souvenirs, most of your transactions are going to happen in the smaller bills. So definitely, as soon as you can, walk into a bank, and buy yourself a stack of small notes. You might have heard of the term Africa time. Well, it's real. There's Ghana time. And the one thing you need to know is not everything happens on schedule. Not everything happens in a hurry. Some people who are familiar with working with Westerners might be a little bit better about being on time because they know our expectations, but don't expect it. Expect everything to take longer than you think, and that goes for food preparation. If it's not a place that has pre-made food, they're making it from scratch. So don't expect it to be quickety-quick. Ghana time is real, and just relax and enjoy. Something else you want to know is that Ghana has a secret handshake. And I have a couple of great volunteers here. Let me show you. Okay, and then.
Nice work. Nice work.
So the trick is the finger snap.
Yeah, exactly.
All about the finger snap.
Yeah.
As I was traveling around Ghana recently, in the comfort budget range that I usually do, I noticed that a lot of the hotels and guest houses, they would give you a simple omelet and some toast or bread, and a lot of them didn't give you toppings. So if you're traveling around Ghana, I want to highly recommend that you stop in at a local market and pick up some all-natural local honey. Because one, the trip into the market is fun, but two, it just gives you something to put on your bread, and it doesn't taste like that over-synthesized honey that we sometimes get in the U.S. But it's a good thing to have around. Just get a small bottle of it and get have a plastic baggie or something to wrap around it if you're going to be carrying it around in your suitcase. One of the things you definitely want to have when you're traveling in Ghana is some mosquito repellent. Now, the mosquitoes are only really bad during rainy season, but they're still around all year round. So definitely bring some with you. The natural stuff works fine. Then you don't have to have a bunch of harsh chemicals on you. And if you don't have it, then you can pick some up always at a local pharmacy is where you're going to get your mosquito repellent. Anytime you're outside after 4 p.m., you want to put on some mosquito repellent and reapply as needed. One of the things you'll hear a lot in casual conversation here are please and sorry. If you say something bad happened to you, like, oh, I didn't sleep well, or oh, I stubbed my toe, it'll be, oh, sorry. Or they might say, when they say yes, they might say, yes, please. Or, it comes up a lot. And just know it's part of the language. It's the way they speak here. And it's perfectly acceptable to use please and sorry in the same way they do if you just happen to pick it up. It'll go over just fine. One thing to remember when you are traveling in any foreign country is that even if they speak English, because English is the colonial language here, that if you are having trouble understanding their accent when they speak English, then they're having trouble understanding yours. Okay, it goes both ways. So always, if you're having trouble understanding, just slow down, enunciate your words. Don't be stupidly slow about it, but slow down, enunciate, and sometimes you need to find different words for what you're describing because they just don't call it the same thing. And that's also when the smartphone can come in handy and you can show a picture, because sometimes you just don't have the same word even though you both know what the item is. So whenever it comes to language, even if they speak your language when you're in that country, be patient and understanding because it's not all the same. Okay, so for as much as I said, people here are very friendly, and they are. A lot of people will want to be your friend. Okay, and they'll want your WhatsApp number, and it's up to you whether you give it or not. I mean, because if you end up regretting it, you can always just block them on WhatsApp. But one of the scams that I have run into, a little bit here in Ghana and a little bit in Senegal as well, is that they'll do that and they'll be all your friend, and then after you leave the area, suddenly there will be a sick family member or someone died, etc., etc. They need money. And it's a scam. If it happens, just right after you leave an area and yet they're still fresh in your mind, it's a scam. So don't fall for it. A lot of people, though, that want your number, some will never bother you, some will just be friendly. And it's not horrible to give it out, but you got to be a little judicious with it. And ladies, a lot of guys are going to want your number to try and get with you. And that's up to you. Up to you entirely how you handle it. But just be aware. Just be a little bit smart. It's not rampant, but it is something to be aware of. If you've seen me on any of my other videos, you might realize that I like coffee. And it is hard to get real coffee here in Ghana. I know they grow it here, but getting places that serve it is actually really difficult. You'll see a lot of Nescafe. You know, you'll get the little packet at breakfast and you know, some sugar in that to put in it. And so if you find a place that has coffee, enjoy it, appreciate it, and don't expect one to be on every block. You know, there are coffee bars, especially in Accra, you'll find coffee bars, and in the big cities you'll find coffee bars. But there are times when it can be hard to find, or it can be very expensive. So just be aware, and you might just have to tolerate Nescafe sometimes. There was something on me. So just be ready for Nescafe because you're going to see it a lot. Another thing to know is that if you approach someone and they are eating, okay, you know, their meal comes, or maybe they already have it, and you come up and you're talking to them for some reason, a lot of times you will hear, "You are invited," okay? And that is their way of sincerely offering you to share food. Trying not to get run over. But they're sincerely offering to share food with you if they say you are invited. If they don't feel like they have enough, they won't offer. But you also don't have to accept. You are not obligated to accept. If you say yes, it's fine too. So handle it however you want, but just know that it's likely to happen. Okay, I just want to let you know that if you see someone walking around selling water like this, of course the bottled water is fine, but those little plastic bags with water, can you show me a sachet? Can you pull one out? The water sachets are completely fine and completely safe. There's always an urban legend of someone filling them at home and this, that, and the other thing, and I have never seen that happen, so don't hesitate. These things are awesome. Okay, so once you have your water sachet, you just tear a little hole in the end and drink from it. And if you drink down far enough, you can set it down usually. But that's my biggest problem. I can't drink it all in one shot. But the nice thing is when they're walking around with them, they're generally really nice and cold, and that is really great on a hot day. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the little walk around town. And if you want to know more about traveling in Ghana, I got a whole bunch of videos, so watch this next.